Guys, moving on to a 6:45 matchup this Saturday. We have a game that, if you remember last year, was a controversial game and ending kind of earlier in the season than it is right now. We've got South Carolina traveling to Baton Rouge to face number 11 LSU. As we know, LSU's 4-1 coming off a bye week previous to that, a loss at Ole Miss. South Carolina is coming off a bye week as well previous to that, a win over Kentucky 35-13, which, funny enough, is pretty much what Georgia did to them. LSU's a 9.5 point favorite at home with a 73% chance to win, according to ESPN. Interesting.
Yeah, yeah. You bring up the controversy. I know you're referring to the was it a fumble, was it not a fumble moment of that game last year? But I think the largest controversy was why the heck was it not a night game in Williams Brice? Let them go crazy in the cockpit. All right. But that being said about this game this year, look, there's a part of me that wants to go, hey, they dropped what could have been potentially a winnable game against Vandy in their SEC opener due to the Lenoris Sellers injury. Then they lost a competitive road game with Missouri. And then they bounced back by beating up Kentucky, which I think a lot of people are going to do this year. Um, and so that gave them, it makes me want to say, like, hey, Sellers can stress this LSU defense, which has been really, really good. I mean, don't get me wrong, they even put up a good performance against Ole Miss, even in a loss. And that Ole Miss offense, I think, is one of the better ones in the league. Uh, that being said, man, like I think Brian Kelly and LSU, they're what, like one loss at home all time under Kelly, and it was the Alabama game last year, and that was a bad loss. But
Yeah, yeah, you're right.
to my knowledge, that's their only night game loss under Kelly, and I struggled to convince myself that they're going to lose a night game in Baton Rouge. Like that defense is legit. They're going to keep them in the game. Don't get me wrong. LSU needs to do something to simulate a run game. I mean, I think they might be able to get by just throwing the ball a bunch with Garrett Nussmeier against South Carolina enough to win. But when they play a bigger, more competitive opponent down the line, say in Alabama on the road in Tuscaloosa, you're looking down the barrel of another loss. You know what I mean? Or the Texas, I'm pretty sure they still play A&M at the end of the year, do they not? Or near the end of the year. How do you win in that game if you can't simulate a running attack? You know what I mean? So uh, for those kind of games, I think LSU needs to look in the mirror. But LSU coming off the bye against what I think is like a lower tier South Carolina, like I don't think South Carolina is the team to convince me that they're all of a sudden going to break this home home night game record that Brian Kelly's got running down there in Baton Rouge. So give me LSU, but I do like South Carolina on this. I think this game will be
Yeah.
close.
Speaking on LSU's upcoming schedule, they've got South Carolina this week, obviously. Next week at Vandy, at home against A&M, and then a bye week before they play Alabama. So not an easy road ahead for LSU. But I'm going to say this on South Carolina. They were poised this year to have a great season. And I say that due to the fact that they overachieved last year. And I think we didn't view it as overachieving, but you got to keep in mind that a team, a program like South Carolina isn't good year over year.
Yeah.
Every 4 or 5, 6 years, they pop off with a season. And luckily, it's a 12-team playoff now that when they do pop off, there's a chance that they make the playoffs. They're going to be right on that fringe just like they were last year. Um, but, last year their defense was young. They played out of their mind. Lenore Sellers played out of his mind and was poised to be one of the better quarterbacks in the SEC this year. Well, that just hasn't happened. But I tell you what else hasn't happened. Garrett Nussmeier progressing. He has regressed so bad, and I don't even know if I'd call it a regression. It's a mythical regression because we thought that he would be somewhere he's not. And where he is now is exactly where he was last year. Turnover prone, making the wrong reads. He was not hurt. I don't care what anybody has to say. I don't believe it. Otherwise, he wouldn't have played in that throwaway game. Um, their offense is really, really anemic. Um, and what I think will happen in this game is South Carolina is going to shock LSU. I think South Carolina gets the win here on the road.
Oh, okay.
Um, I'm just not a believer in LSU, man. Their offense stinks. Now their defense is really, really good, but I think they're going to struggle with Lenore Sellers. He's healthy after the injury to playing Vandy. He's had a couple weeks, bye week, the whole nine to get ready. So give me South Carolina to shock the world and get revenge from last year. And keep in mind that will be a revenge game for them. Now, South Carolina's defense is better than what they've played. They have not played that great, but they have the talent. They've got the defensive front and the defensive line to keep up with an LSU. So give me South Carolina to win this game in a huge upset.